All right, we're good to go.
Great. Okay, welcome to your comms call, Giveth comms call. We can just do intentions and distractions to start. My intentions for the call are, I don't have so many intentions for the call. I want to go through the things on the board, but there's not too much on there. I do really want to talk about this give power delegation thing that we were talking about in an earlier call, so I want to kind of like get some feedback from the comms team of like strategizing things, but I'll get into it. And then if we have time, I was thinking we could also just kind of like with the people that are here, kind of get an idea more of like what people are wanting to work on in Giveth comms, because I feel like we kind of have like people dance in and out of Giveth comms, and it's hard to like understand like exactly what everybody's like focus is and like what to give to people. So I would like to do that as well if we have time. And I am distracted by being very fatigued from many calls. And and somebody's here cooking lunch, and sometimes she asks me questions. And I will pass it to Todd.
Hey everyone. So I will be joining the Giveth team part-time next week. So I am going to be supporting as a product manager, and I anticipate that some of my work kind of will be filtered through the comms team. So I'm attending today, and will be attending probably moving forward, just to see how I can kind of support from the product side, and maybe helping produce resources from the product side that is then passed to the comms team. So distractions today, very few. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a good day. Maybe a little tired, but yeah. Other than that, feeling good. I'll pass it to Ahmad.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Todd. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Yeah, so my intentions are like just to catch up with everyone, talk about the newsletter that we want to send out this week. And also, if we have time, maybe we can talk about the strategy and document as well, and like see if we can start to implement some of those tasks that we talked about last time. Yeah, and I'm not really distracted. Let me pass it to Ben. Are you there, Ben? Maybe his internet is not good.
I think he's having bad connection issues. Okay, let's talk about the newsletter then, because I think that's like the easiest thing we can check off the list. Yeah. So, do you have anything in particular, Matt? I have one thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I saw that you left a few comments just in the last 30 minutes. So yeah, like I'll go through those. But yeah, I mean, I guess like the main thing is if you want to wait until early next week to send it. So I mean, we could wait until Monday if you want.
So the thing with the UniV2 thing, I mean, today I'm trying to coordinate with Mohammed and Mateo. Basically, Amin's on vacation, and Amin's the one who set up like the rewards contracts. So Mohammed's kind of like checking, and he's like, "Hey, it's supposed to start on Saturday," but Griff is like, "It should really start on Friday." And then it's like, "Do we need to change something?" So there's this little bit of like Griff felt because Amin's not back, or Amin won't be back, but ideally it would like the rewards would start on Friday, and we would announce tomorrow on Twitter that there would be like a countdown, and then like. So if that all gets managed and organized today, I think the newsletter could go out tomorrow, could go out Friday, because like all of that will be sorted. But at least by Saturday, the rewards will be working. And I think that like announcing it in this newsletter is valuable because the rewards will go down every 2-week period, or they go down, they go up, they change, they fluctuate. And then like also getting in on a rewards program, like right away means you'll probably get the higher rewards because people haven't really like tuned in and jumping in there. So there's an advantage to knowing soon. So I think like I would love to have it in the newsletter. So I'll just really keep you posted on it. But that's kind of the only blocker. The blocker is like coordinating with Mohammed and Mateo.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
That should be ideally could be done by today, but I don't know until today is over, until it's done.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
Anything else on that?
Not really, no. I mean, besides like the comments that you left, yeah, I think it's good to go, I think.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
I guess, yeah, sorry.
So,
One thought I had on the newsletter was I was thinking we might want to explore having the newsletter somewhere else, like hosting it on a different platform. So one idea that I had is Twitter actually has like their own newsletter platform that they bought. It's called Revue, I think, REVUE, I think. And basically, if you set up a newsletter through that, you can add it to your Twitter profile. So people can basically just subscribe with a single, like, yeah, I mean, like, they just see it and they click subscribe and it just happens. So that might be something to look into to get us more subscribers.
that's cool. Wait, it's called Review?
This one, yeah, yeah.
This?
Yeah, so Twitter bought them like a few months ago, and like there are some profiles that or like they already have this on it. Let me see if I can get you an example. Yeah, like there's one called there's a Twitter profile called, I think, DeFi Edge. I think they have this on their profile. If that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, DeFi Edge. Yeah, that's the one. No, not the protocol. I think it's called the DeFi Edge.
Oh, wait,
Like,
hold on. My Discord did something weird. I have.
hours.
Discord was being weird.
It's all good.
Wait, so not the protocol one? It's a different one?
Yeah, it's called the DeFi Edge, I think, on Twitter. It's a person, and they basically have like that set up. Like if you go to their profile, you can subscribe to the newsletter just by clicking on the button. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, I think that. Anyway, it's fine.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's really cool. I mean, I'd love to see it, but not this. DeFi Edge?
No, so THE, DeFi Edge. DeFi.
The DeFi Edge.
Exactly. Yeah. So that guy. So see, like, you could just subscribe, like, no, on the bottom, like lower. No, yeah. If you go back. Yeah. See, so it has like this
that's
subscribe
cool.
button on Twitter itself.
Cool. That's cool.
So that might be
That's
something that
super
we look
cool.
into. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's awesome. I wonder if we could still build it, like, yeah, it would be also interesting to know if we could still build it into the DApp, because it is nice that it's like from the Giveth page, you can also subscribe.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sure you could. But yeah, really cool. I think that's really worthwhile. So I don't like. I hate giving you work, Ahmad. Are you wanting to look into this, or should we ask someone else?
No, I can do it because I'm already working on the newsletter, so it's fine. I can take this on.
Okay, I can make an issue. Let's see.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What's
Nice.
our current host for our newsletters?
We're just sending out an
Autopilot.
autopilot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is fine, but
Just
it's
curious.
a bit of a clunky platform. It's not super user friendly, and yeah, I mean it's also not that easy for people to subscribe. Like, I mean, they have to go on the homepage, scroll all the way down. Yeah, so I think it should be easier for people to find us, I think.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I really like it. I think it's so cool, and it doesn't seem like any harm. Could we still send it to people via email?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Yeah, so like
review as well?
basically, I mean, well, like they have their own platform that, like, collects the emails, and they have. I mean, it's very similar to autopilot. I mean, it's almost like the same thing, except it's just for the. I mean, it's basically kind of like a Substack. So so it'll post it as a blog automatically, and it'll send it as an email. I mean, so it's basically just like Substack, basically.
That's cool. That's cool. Could we get it to? We can't get it to post like on Docusaurus, right? That would be cool if it could also like, because it's annoying to have to be like every time we make the newsletter, get like Mitch or somebody to like upload it to Docs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like another, I guess, easy solution would just be to set like a subdomain. So it could be like newsletter.giveth, and then that would redirect to there. And then as soon as there's a new newsletter that we send, it'll automatically be posted there. So we wouldn't even have to put it on the docs.
Cool. Cool. That would be great. That sounds great.
Okay, cool.
I like it. I like it.
Nice.
Just go for it. Look into it. If it seems good, take the power, and then we can just start doing that instead. You also have control of the autopilot. I think it just sounds better, and like not really a lot of disadvantages. Nobody likes autopilot anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like might as well like slowly start to move off of it, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing at a time. We'll get away from it. Okay, cool. Anything else on the newsletter?
I think that's it.
No. Cool. So something I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure, Todd, you were in the Give Economy Dev call. Oh, I think you were in the first call. But anyway, one thing I want. Oh yeah, good. Yeah, I remember. You actually had opinions on this. So one thing I wanted to talk about is give power, delegation, and like the potential impacts for comms. So I'll just kind of like briefly explain it to you guys, and then we can kind of like just discuss like what that might look like. So give power. When you stake and lock your tokens, you're able to delegate your give power to a delegate. Like you're able to give your give power to a delegate who will then be able to choose which projects they like the best using your give power. You still get the earnings, like you still get the rewards for staking and locking tokens, but it's like kind of for like people who are using the farms, kind of degenning, and they don't really like care that much about the projects on Giveth. They could just like delegate, or they don't want to have a active say. They could choose a delegate. So there's an advantage to having like the delegates, because it like when Gitcoin and ENS did their airdrop, they had like a voting power delegation kind of campaign thing where they were asking people, they asked people to become delegates, like sign themselves up to be delegates. They put in like a description and a photo and like why they're a delegate and why they want to represent Gitcoin or why they should be a good representative for ENS or whatever. And then when the product launched, then people kind of like have a little bit of like a taste of the characters for potential delegates. And for what this might look like in Giveth, is like we could have a page that would be like in the design where it's like if you want to delegate your give power, there'd be like a list of people's photos and some descriptions about like why they want to be delegates for give power, and or like why they're like good champions for like projects, or they know about these public goods projects and and it would be kind of interesting and awesome. And I was thinking about it today in the call that like we could take advantage of the delegate situation to kind of do like a pre-post, like a announcement of an announcement post where we explain what is give power, and we like do like a call for delegates, and then we could get like delegates to fill out a type form and then like collect their information, and then kind of like have a process for kind of like bringing in and onboarding delegates, and kind of like it's like what kind of messages do we want to be put forward about give power. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that out there and get any like ideas or like yays or nays from this. Like we were debating it in the Give Economy Development call on like whether or not the delegation in general is like a good idea to do, like and what kind of generally people were saying, like Todd and Willie and Griff, is kind of like delegation really gets a lot of hype in the early stages. It's like delegates come in, like delegates, I mean, everyone gets excited about the product launch, and then a lot of the times that's like the biggest impact it has, and then the delegates are like, you know, maybe involved in the community or maybe less, but it's like the hype around that is a lot less. But I think for give power, it's because it's like, well, okay, because two reasons. The give power will like create utility for the give token. So it's like a reason people want to have the give token because it like influences which projects are getting donations, more donations on Giveth, and which projects get more matching funds. I think it's like it creates good advantage and demand for the give token. And yeah, man, I'm like so fatigued. I just totally forgot my second point. But so anyway, I think that give power is really important, and the fact that like we could have the opportunity to kind of like pre-announce and get delegates and kind of like build this early hype would be a good thing and valuable. But yeah, anyway, open to opinions and what you guys think, and like if we decide to go with this, like it would be great to have like some input on like kind of like a strategic launch plan for give power, including the delegation.
I think, yeah, I shared a few of my opinions this morning, but I think this is Giveth as a pretty unique opportunity in the type of delegate that would be created here, where that role would be, it'd be kind of like our stewardship role, where they are community, kind of maybe organic community leaders or grassroots leaders within the Giveth network that know the Giveth ecosystem and that want to continue to engage with the Giveth ecosystem. So I think from a comms perspective, it's interesting because I think that really opens up a window to highlight like on a recurring basis, like what are the monthly delegate like projects of this month, and it's a way for us to kind of refer back to the project side of the Giveth ecosystem. And because that's like really, I think the core of like the Giveth ecosystem is like, how do we rethink fundraising for impact benefit oriented projects, and like Give Economy really supports that. So that is like the focal point of the entire Giveth ecosystem. I think it should be highlighted, and I think if we could create a strategy to kind of launch that delegate program and say, hey, this is kind of what you're signing up for. You maybe after a delegate becomes a delegate or is appointed as a delegate, they have some expectation around like sharing. Maybe it's one delegate a month gets to share like what their portfolio of projects that they want to support is, and then they provide some reason around that. I think if we be strategic in the communications team about how this is being built out, it could really elevate communications as kind of an outlet for or maybe the mouthpiece for the Giveth ecosystem as a whole. That's my piece.
Oh, it's great. It's a great piece. I love that. I love the ideas you're having. We were also talking about like, I don't know, for a little while of like, oh no, gracias. We were talking about like having kind of like maybe even a podcast or like video series. We're talking about ways we could kind of like have more of that, and like if we could have, you know, delegates featured in some of these things where they're talking about like their projects. I think this would be really good, and it kind of bridges also between like comms and like the Connect working group, because like, you know, the Connect working group, a lot of the projects who are coming onto the platform are interested in kind of like what people care about, and so it's like also knowing like the opinions of delegates and like kind of like what's impactful, why they're choosing certain projects, I think would be interesting also like to those projects. And yeah, I loved some of your ideas. I loved your ideas, Todd, and I think that it kind of creates even more potential. So anyone else has opinions, ideas?
I think adding on that kind of like made me think of, I mean, we're talking of how influencers can get very excited about becoming delegates and, you know, pushing these to their own networks. And I don't know, also talking about what the Giveth Connect working group is doing. If we go to people that are also, I don't know, more known and familiar in the impact investing world, and just invite them to become delegates. And if we get some people that might be interested, I think that's also a great opportunity to reach out to new audiences.
Yeah, that's also a great idea. Like doing some like outreach, like what kinds of people do we want to be delegates? Because it's a unique opportunity. Like this delegation situation, it's not just like who's the best in Web3. It's not like just for like crypto junkies. It's like for like who are the best people to curate projects on Giveth. Like who knows about like nonprofits and charity projects and like the impact. I think like the outreach component's really interesting as well. Yeah.
I think this is a really interesting touch point to bring people who are outside of the Web3 world into Web3 through a really meaningful and impactful like platform. We could have potentially non-Web3 delegates that are really just focused on like the projects and maybe even bringing in projects to the Giveth ecosystem. We would have to provide some. There'd be some administrative overhead in like helping them understand kind of the basic accounting, like how to even apply as a delegate or what to do.
Yeah, for sure. But I think like, that would be something like Melody would probably be interested in supporting because she's kind of like coming from the nonprofit side and like kind of really interested in like the impact. Like I think the Connect working group with like Melody, Rainer, and Claire, like they would also have some good ideas for outreach. So it's like we could delegate that work to the Giveth Connect working group.
That sounds great. I've been listening to those strategic the videos.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I think this is sounding really valuable, and I think I'm gonna really push with Mo to make sure that we have the design in there for delegates. And yeah, then I don't know. Okay, I can create an issue for this in GitHub to like kind of like create a general launch strategy for like the different components that delegation could include. If somebody wants to champion that and kind of like put these ideas together and put them kind of like in something linear and like this be kind of like a subset comps project, that would be very helpful. Otherwise, I'll probably end up doing it, but I'll also make the issue in case anyone wants to claim it.
You can assign it to me, Lauren. And yesterday with the Connect working group, we actually even created an issue for the first time, so they got more familiar with Zendesk. And I don't know, I can talk about it with Melody and Clara. And yeah, I can take it for now, and then like if I get overwhelmed at some point, I can see if I can delegate. But so far, so good.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Just a minor thing, Lauren. I think we need to add like a label for Connect working group so we can easily filter them out.
I think I already did that.
We did already, maybe?
Label.
Okay, maybe there's already one there.
I don't think they're using it, but there's a label.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, there's already one there.
Is there a kind of a timeline around the Give Power release?
We were really hoping to have it ready and like to go out because we have the Give farm, right? So the Give farm is a great thing for liquidity for the Give token, and we wanted to have Give Power launch because we're going to be having this like staking rewards thing, and we wanted that to come out when the Give farm rewards end, which is in June. I think the end of June. I hope it's the end of June. Anyway, it's becoming less and less likely, and seemingly less and less likely because it's been really a challenge with managing the design resources. It's like I made the spec months ago, and it's just been really challenging to organize the design because they're also busy with things on the DApp, and it's mostly just kind of like Mo and Hassan who's like kind of coming in a little bit newer. And but smart contracts are moving along well, but we just haven't started any of the front end development because we don't even really have the design for like what all of it will have to look like yet. So yeah.
Okay. So Give Farm is gonna be sunset.
Yeah, Give Farm is supposed to end in June. But like we're also we're working on this Angel Vault thing, and it would be great if we could get that up around the same time too, because we don't really want to create another liquidity mining program, because it is just kind of like inflationary. You're like sending your token out there, and then people will dump it for profit. And I mean, we have the Give stream with the Give farm, so that's really helpful. But yeah, I mean, the idea was that we didn't really want to restart the farms with new incentive programs, but maybe we will. Yep. It's kind of like the
Cool.
timeline rests on like the ability for our team to kind of like rally and getting these new products out. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. Well, thanks for all the feedback. That was awesome. The other thing I put on the agenda is just this verification forum and the design for the new verification flow. I don't think we really need to look at this together, but and I think Ahmad already did and Nicola. So I mean, maybe it's pretty good at this point. Ahmad, do you think anyone else needs to have a look at the flow, or you looked at it, right?
Yeah. Also, Melody made a like a mural board, so people can comment on it if they want to add anything to it. I mean, I think that you could also comment here as well, but yeah, I think like we were fine with the flow, but we just had a few comments on some areas that would make it a bit easier for projects. So I think that the main thing was on the first step, we asked them for their wallet address, and I think that might be too early, since a lot of them, like might not know like how to get that if they're not like a Web3 project. So yeah, like a lot of it is like just around how to simplify this flow like a bit better to make it easier, and like keeping in mind who the customers are, which are mainly projects on the ground that not like necessarily are like Web3 native projects.
Okay, wait, because did she think that this is just too complicated, or I mean, it doesn't seem so complicated.
I mean, like we didn't think it's too complicated, but like just like the flow. So for example, if you go to the first step, which is like I think personal info, for example, like wait, where is that one? Yeah, like this one here. So like here, for example, we were thinking of adding like this part with the wallet to be at the end, where it's on like the managing funds part instead. Yeah, so I mean, it's just like small comments like that
Okay.
yeah, like we might want to explore.
Okay, sounds good. But cool. Okay, but it also sounds like has a lot of attention and doesn't really need more resources, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's already like 5 people that already gave comments on it. I mean, if anybody here has any comments, feel free, of course. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. Okay, that's kind of everything that was on here. We can talk about the strategy document. That sounds like a good thing for this. I will link it in the notes as well. Cool. So, Mad, you were thinking of kind of like taking on some, like making these into some sort of like action items, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think probably like the number one thing that we need to think about are talking about who the audiences are that we're targeting, since I think that will inform a lot of the content that we start putting out. So I think that's sort of like the first thing that I would think about is like think about, are these 4 categories, like are these like 4 categories that we want to go with? And if like the answer is yes, then like what content should we start building out for each of these 4 categories?
Yeah, I think I just made a comment. I think we should add also partners as an audience, like something we're doing with Regen Farms, and like Dan is going to be helping me with this like outreach to other DAOs who might be interested in like getting a Regen Farm. I think we're working with Gitcoin right now, which is going to help like in our token swaps, and it's like I think like partners should be another key audience, but yeah, I think so. I think we could expand this a little bit. I don't really know. I totally agree. So the idea is that we should just like pick one of these audiences and like try to brainstorm ways to reach that particular audience, or it's like a good document that's starting to like create the framework, but I'm like really struggling with like the next action items on what to do.
I think next it would be around like what are the content pieces that we're putting out for each of these audiences. So it might also work with the content calendar that we also built as well. So like it might be, I don't know, every week we post at least one thing for each of these audiences in some way, right? So like it's basically just like a way to like make sure that the content that we're putting out is relevant for all of the audiences, and not just focused on only one of them.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a great idea. Yeah, and then we could create like a flow. At least, I mean, like for Twitter planning, that would be really helpful too. We could kind of like create a weekly flow. I am gonna have a meeting with Dean this week, and like I think like kind of setting up and scheduling the tweets for the week is sort of one of the things he was encouraging doing. I don't do that at all. I just on the fly, I'm like, oh, what am I tweeting today? So I think that's really a valuable thing.
Do we have any Twitter analytics set up currently?
Well, Twitter has Twitter has its own analytics. I think I was just looking at it. Twitter has like an analytics thing. Yeah, the built-in one. So I look at this all the time. But we're also going to be using like Tweet Hunter and TweetDeck, and like we just hired this Twitter specialist, and I haven't had a group meeting with him, but he wants to implement like other analytics tools. Plus, actually, Ramin created a Twitter analytics tool that he built that we have access to as well, that I also haven't taken a look at.
Sweet. Okay. So it's all like we've said.
Yeah, and then also just on like the other kinds of content that we could produce as well. So I mean that could be blogs that we might want to write, or like video content, or other forms of content. I mean, so I think it just helps us think about like what are we planning on a high level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what can we do like right now in this call? I mean, I'm thinking like, because are people in this call interested in writing blogs or content? Is this something we could do right now? Because we could kind of be like, yeah, we don't really have content for this particular audience, and then create an issue and kind of like create a post out of that. But maybe we can do a round of kind of like people's intentions for involvement within comps. Yeah, and like kind of like what they're interested in doing or have the bandwidth to do. That would be really helpful for me, at least. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just pass it. I'll pass it to Katabe, because I'll pass it to Daniel. You go first. So, what's your projected interest and involvement in comps, or like what kinds of tasks do you want to take on for comps?
Well, since I am kicking off very soon this kind of like focus on builders and attracting and bringing more builders to the Giveth ecosystem, I want to use framework that I was selling with a business coach in my previous life, which is called how is it called? Sorry, completely forgot it. But anyway, it's basically the whole idea is to focus on traction and growth. and I think it's very nicely focused. Um, so I still have free access to the whole course. I haven't taken it myself. I have just taken some modules. It involves what Ahmed was talking about on the a previous call, which is a lead magnet. Um, it involves, for example, like setting on your own email and getting good reputation for your email, which was something that I wrote about in an issue. So having people answer to you on an email that makes Google not think that this is promotional and take it out of the promotional tab and actually have it on inbox. And it involves a few other things. And I want to test that to bring builders into Giveth. So that will be the focus that I want to take.
Okay. So what kind of stuff do you want to be doing? So it's like you want to like do testing, or I mean I understood what you were saying about the email, but so you kind of want to like see what of these tools we could use a little bit more to kind of reach that audience. Like you're kind of interested in like experimenting with different like tools and techniques for growth.
Yes, they're mostly. I mean, a lot of them are just worksheets. So, for example, we have the Traction 100, which is like 100. You give the top 10 things of where you can meet your audience. So, what podcast are they listening to? What people are they following? What to what conventions and forums and events are they going? And with that you start finding like what are your best opportunities to meet your audience where they are. And like these, there are several spreadsheets, and the whole idea is to have a very lean process for your marketing, your growth.
Okay, cool. Makes sense.
And I
Do you
think
wanna pass
also
it to
you would
someone
be
else?
interested in like the builder, I mean like that persona, right? Like the builder persona.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. And I'll pass it to Todd.
Thank you. So I think my core focus in the team is going to be on product, but I see communications being a pretty kind of important part of that, like kind of like the end point. Like once we do good product work, we can communicate that to the team, the network, the ecosystem. So I think I could probably commit probably like 3 to 5 hours out of my 20 to comms. I think it would be in largely probably creating like visual content that better like illustrate kind of the Giveth ecosystem and the components of the ecosystem. Yeah, I think I'm open to direction and figuring out kind of what the team wants and what the team is prioritizing as far as communications, and then figuring out how I can support deeply there. But I think my skill is in kind of taking the technical, like complex stuff, and then being able to distill that and tell a story around that, and relating that to like the growth of the ecosystem and what that may mean, like getting into the features and communicating the benefits. So I think that's all I got. I'm on.
Yeah,
Or
cool.
Ben's.
Yeah, I think Todd, that's a really needed skill because I mean a lot of like the content that we put out is like about like updates to the Giveth platform. So I think like that's really useful to have that skill set and to be involved on the product side because it'll help us a lot in terms of like the content that we put out. Yeah, so from my side, I would say probably two areas. So the first one is, I guess like content that's geared towards onboarding people. So sort of 101 content, kind of like the donor 101 course that we're doing. I mean, I like that kind of content that basically helps people get started if they have no knowledge. so I think like that would be one that I would be willing to take more on, and like that could be in the form of helping make videos, writing articles, and like just helping people get onboarded into Giveth. So that's probably like the first area. The second area is on like marketing tooling. So like things, you know, like what kind of system should we use? Even doing things with the newsletter. Yeah, like how are we currently, you know, using Segment? How does that connect to the email like workflows that we currently have? You know, what other systems should we look into? Is there any way to automate some of these things? So I guess like marketing with tech, I guess like the you know, yeah, like the intersection of both of those. Yeah, so I think those are like the two main areas that I would like to focus on, I think. And yeah, let's see. Are you back, Benz? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I have a lot better reception now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I think where I'm kind of wanting to focus is like communications within, within Giveth Connect, their communications to projects and their donors, but kind of, I think I'm more interested in focusing on people kind of outside this crypto Web3 space in general, and kind of that angle a little bit more, and kind of thinking about how we can maybe even focus on like communities that are pretty tightly knit between the project and the donors, and kind of target them as a group together. That's one area I'm interested in, and kind of doing that strategically. So how that looks, I'm still kind of trying to sort that out, but that's kind of where my interest lies. So, thanks. I think that's everybody, isn't it? Good.
Yeah, that's everybody except for me. I mean, I guess I can also just like, I mean, I don't know. What am I taking on the cost? I'll do everything that needs to get done, and I'm interested in. Well, you know, I like doing the Twitter, and I'm interested in like creating a better like organized system for the Twitter. Like we're like Ahmad just mentioned, kind of like planning content so that's like we're reaching the different audiences. I think like I'd like to do more of that. Plus, I really like I like writing blog posts. Like I like writing announcement blog posts. And like in the bigger Giveth mission things, that's like I really like doing that stuff. And yeah, and other than that, I just do everything that needs to get done in the managing and the QAing and the editing and things. So, but so from what you guys were sharing, you know, from when you guys were all sharing it seems to me a lot like we're really lacking content targeted to like more simple audience, you know, like a lot of the stuff that we're producing, I mean, are these announcement type posts, and a lot of the stuff we also are tweeting about are these kind of like crypto audience tweets. And then like, you know, it's like we want to like, we also kind of boast about being friendly for onboarding projects, and I'm thinking it might be really valuable to like, we're creating the donor onboarding series, but I think it would be valuable to create like 1 or 2 targeted blog posts like for projects, kind of like hitting some of the like FAQs, and maybe this is something that could come out of the Connect working group, and we could kind of like create more multiple things. Like we could create like one like why use Web3 or why use Giveth for donating, or and kind of like this is like going to be a video that we're creating in the donor onboarding course, but I think like kind of having that like in written form and like a little bit more stuff might be really valuable, and something that we could create as an issue and like a blog post to put out soon. And and we could take like some of the content from the donor onboarding course and kind of and make that into a thing, and then like and another one could be like why use Giveth to donate, or like what are donors interested. We could do one targeted to like the donor audience and one targeted to like the project audience, and kind of like hit the FAQs, but not make it in written FAQ style, like not like question and answer, but like actually go through and answer all these common questions that we do get from people, but like kind of keeping in that like basic 101 level audience that or maybe 201 or 101. 101 level audiences.
I think that's a great idea, Lauren.
Cool.
Also unrelated, but just not to forget it. I am actually doing now a kind of like weekly check-ins with builders and people that are working on this. And Griff actually suggested, and I think it makes a lot of sense, that rather than making it working group where there's not even like a group yet, it actually is like starts as part of the communications working group. So but to give updates to the community about what's happening with the builders. Um, will you, or what do you guys think about having that in the on the community call, on the slides of the community working group, communications working group?
Updates for builders?
Yeah.
Like for external builders?
So what are external like the connections of external builders and Giveth, like what's happening with other groups that are kind of like interacting with us?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely add something to that, like in like our regular check-ins. But I think that would be valuable. I mean, I think it probably wouldn't be on the comms slide, but we could make another slide and like kind of like add that in as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. To create updates. It might even be something like good to update in the governance call. I don't know what's really the best place, like community or governance. Because like if you talk about it in governance, it could be like, I've been talking to these different projects and this is like where they're coming from, and it could actually be like a space to get like feedback on like which ones are more worth pursuing and like how our team could integrate. Because the community call is really like presentation style. Like one person's like, listen to me, and then somebody else, and then it's time for someone to listen to someone else, What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, more. I was thinking on the community call, just kind of like to make a brief update for people of what's happening with all the groups that we are interacting. But yeah, I think that for specific things that are a bit more maybe ahead, the governance call will be better suited to get some feedback, or even like if there's something interesting that really needs some feedback, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Cool. Well, I can make space. We can do that, Dan, if you want to add like to either to the comm slide, or you could just make a slide right after, and I'll just kind of like pass it to you, and it'll be like end communications with builders, and then like you can take like a minute to touch on them.
Okay, that's great.
Cool. That'd be nice. Okay, cool. I mean, are there any other like ideas of like content that we should create, like specific action items that we should take in order to like kind of like meet some of these goals we were just talking about?
One more thought I had was something that Todd said about like making visual content. Like I don't think that we're doing enough of that at the moment. So like maybe that could also be something that we look into, is see like for each of these personas, what kind of visual content could we make? Maybe infographics or other forms of content, and like think about how we could share that.
Yeah. So like infographics, kind of like it was like distilling these complex concepts into like things that are like more understandable. Like, is that something? So is it something like? I mean, we would need to get like some design support on this kind of thing, I imagine, or is that something that you like doing as well, Todd?
I do have some design skills. I'm kind of more Photoshop Illustrator, but I think finding it, sorry, I guess Photoshop and then Illustrator for like 3D stuff. I think actually finding a written Illustrator could be interesting. I think from my perspective of just like GivethCon so far, like there's a lot of really good, like deeply technical work, but actually having like visual, like starting to add more metaphor and storytelling, I think would really ground the technical kind of complexity, and really open up the opportunity for people to start to see kind of like the benefits of the Giveth ecosystem, and the unique focus that Giveth kind of brings to the Web3 space as a whole. So,
do you know what would be really helpful, Todd, if you're interested in kind of like trying to create that is, I mean, like, for Give Power, like the nuances of Give Power, like staking and locking your tokens and then like distributing into the projects, and like the story of Give Power is something that like we're still kind of trying to build from the comps perspective that I've been working on. And I mean,
sure.
It seems like something that like you might be good at doing and also interested in doing if you wanted to kind of like try to create some visual aid, even just to announce Give Power, and it's like, yeah, this is Give Power in a picture, you know, and like kind of like hit the key points. If that's something you want to take on like as a little mini project, that would be really valuable, and I would be very happy to help you understand any of the Give Power things, because I know you just got here, so.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think I'm open to that. I have very like no context for Give Power, so maybe Griff was encouraging me to message you and do a one-on-one. So maybe we have like a one-on-one, and then you could give me a deeper dive into Give Power.
Yeah, I would be happy to. I'll put the spec in the issue as well, in case you feel like reading a very long spec doc. I'll put it in there as well, and I'll assign it to you. But like, yeah, let's have a one-on-one, and I can explain it to you as well, and we can go through the designs. I think that would be really valuable.
Okay.
And then this would be really valuable. I actually made an issue a while ago about like Give Power key messaging brainstorming, because I was like, what do I say? Like, you know, it's like when you give, you give back. It's like, what are we gonna say for Give Power that's like our catchy punchline kinds of things? And yeah, this is exactly the bringing the technical into the digestible thing that you were saying you like doing and you're good at. So it would be helpful.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Cool. One more thought I had on this was also, like, I mean, like we have so much like data that we're gathering from the projects, from like who donates to like what kind of project that. I mean, we could also think about how can we visualize that as well. So it could be, for example, like, these are like the top 10 projects that were donated to in the last month. It could be like, these are the kinds of categories of projects that were donated to in like a pie chart. I mean, there's like so much that we could do around like data and like basically showing like the impact of how people are using Giveth that we're not really doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We have a really cool internal dashboard that you can select any time period and actually see the sum of all the donations in the categories.
Yeah.
We have it, so all we need to do is just like template like a monthly or even like a weekly update. Like maybe even that's like a quick win that I could support on, because I know where that dashboard is. I'm familiar with. I mean, I could format a pretty document, and then we could just start reporting every week on like who got the most gifts. Hey, check out the projects. This is the highest category of the week or something. I don't know. And then we just trend it over time. We could have seasons too. That could be, we could just like name seasons. I don't know. Possibility. That's what kind of Gitcoin does with their rounds, and depending on who sponsors it, they have certain tracks.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I was thinking I was going to mention the dashboard as well. Like it would be content that would also be really useful to like put in the newsletter. Like each newsletter would kind of like span 2 different rounds. So it's like we could summarize the content, like the information from Giveback's round, whatever, and the second one, and you could like see them, compare them or something. Or we could also just make it like a regular round. I tweet out when the givebacks go out. I tweet out the POAP link and to claim your givebacks a reminder, and we could add this as like a regular thing. It could be like a 2-part thing. It's like the data from givebacks, whatever round, and now your givebacks are ready to claim. And I think that would be really, really cool. And if you were to create like a template for that information, then make it something that's like easily updatable, where we're like, we just change these numbers and then we have the new picture. It'd be really cool.
Absolutely. Is there like a Notion page I could build that on? What would be the best, I guess, what would be the best informational tool for creating that type of document and templating it?
Maybe like a
I feel like
Canva,
Notion
maybe?
could work.
Like Canva might be good for something like
Canva
that.
could work.
Yeah, like an infographic
What is
type of template, maybe. Or like, I mean, we could ask like the people from the, you know, yeah, like Rodri maybe to, yeah, or like someone else to help. I mean, I think like the first step is just to figure out like what would it look like, and like what data do like we want to put on it, and then we could figure out, you know, how to, you know, design it after that.
Yeah.
I can come up with something simple, I think, and we can start to do some iteration on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, you could just like decide kind of like what's maybe the most valuable data and like a way to present it, and then like Rodri's really good at then like taking the thing and making it look like Giveth. And so yeah, Rodri, and you can find him in the Design channel. Yeah, and if he speaks Spanish, it's even better. But he's great.
Okay, cool.
Man, I love Rodri so much. Just like praise Rodri all the time. He's so great. He's just like so fast, and like anytime I explain anything to him, he always gets it right away, and he's just super helpful, very communicative. Like,
I look forward to meeting him.
I love him. Okay, well, Dan, you keep on muting. Sorry, I keep talking too much. Do you have something?
No, I think that was an excellent.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Well, we are at the top of the hour. This is an awesome meeting. I really like the brainstorming that we kind of like delved into. You know, there is though, I mean, if like anyone who's actually interested in writing this kind of blog post, I created an issue for it, didn't assign it to anybody, but like Ahmad, you mentioned you'd be interested, or Benz, you mentioned you'd be interested in this kind of thing. If you want to take it on, just go and assign yourself to the issue, but also like, you know, it's not something we have a desire, like a pressing need for, but at any time would be very valuable. That's all.
That sounds good.
Thanks everybody for joining the call. Super helpful and valuable, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, same to you, Lauren. Thank you so much. Take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
Lauren. Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.